Yo, what is up? My name is Kevin Savage and you're watching Kevin Savage TV, and today we are going to talk about hi-hats. Probably wondering, like, why would I want to talk about hi-hats? Well, check it out. I know for a while I was stuck with the same hi-hat patterns, or very similar hi-hat patterns, because when you start to create these tracks, you only have a certain number of pieces of like inspiration. I mean, I guess you could dive down and listen to a bunch of songs and find other styles and patterns, but eventually you're going to run out. And so I discovered this trick that you can do super easy, and it is going to blow your mind on how easy it is to vary up those hi-hat patterns. So let's hop into Ableton and let's check it out. All right, so we are now in Ableton. Check it out. This project you'll probably recognize from a earlier video where I walked through my mix template. This is State of Confusion, and I'm showing you this example because this is one of the first tracks that I actually utilized this new technique of creating a unique hi-hat pattern. All right, so hi-hats give your track movement, they give your track texture, they give your track character. But more often than not, at least I found myself doing a lot of hi-hat patterns that sounded like this. Right? Like there's nothing wrong with that. There are some tracks where it just makes sense to do a pattern like that, give a couple of rolls here and good stuff like that. But what if you want to take your hi-hats to the next level, to add a bit of flair that really takes your track and makes it stand apart from the rest? Well, you're going to have to add more movement to your hi-hats. And I mean, you're already creating these complex melodies or harmonies. So, if you think about your track, what piece of that track has rhythm and tone and movement like that? Well, it's in your melody, right? Your melody in many ways is the fundamental foundation of your track. Everything else is kind of built around it, right? So what if you take the melody and use the melody as a foundation for your hi-hats, and use the rhythmic aspects of that as for your hi-hats? Now, obviously, it's not going to be perfect, but with enough playing around, you can actually transform your melody into a hi-hat pattern. So check it out. For this track, this is the melody, right? This is the hook. It's got a swagger, it's got a groove. So I'm going to show you a couple of different, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. Ableton makes it really easy. I mean, there's still some work that's needed, but it makes it easy to convert that melody, if you don't have the MIDI, into MIDI, and then take the MIDI and turn it into a pattern. I took this melody pattern and turned it into this hi-hat pattern. So check this out. Now, obviously, that's not the only hi-hats. I layer that with the other hi-hats, but when you combine the two, and this is what you get. Check this out. Like, that's an awesome hi-hat pattern. Like, I would have never thought of that hi-hat pattern on my own. Right? Like, it's got the tone of the melody in it. It's got the rhythm of the melody in it, and it has an element of swagger. Now, granted, I went through and let's make this bigger. I went through and I got rid of a bunch of the notes that I didn't need, and then I went ahead and added in the rolls and added in the little pieces of movement to kind of give it a little more flair to bring out that element. So as you can see here, obviously some of these, like, they're just going to be too loud, too high. It doesn't make any sense. But when you get into these other sounds, right? It's really awesome. So what's cool is you could take any piece of MIDI, like say you're writing a song and you already created a melody. You could take that melody and drag that into a MIDI channel like this and bring your hi-hat in there. You know, obviously different hi-hats are going to make it sound either better or worse, but find the right hi-hat and you could do a really cool layer of both like a very constant layered, a very constant hi-hat pattern as well as this kind of this like almost like hi-hat harmony to your percussion, you know? So that can, you know, in this case, this is what my drums now sound like. Right? Like, what if I were to have gotten rid of that and play it with the song? Like, that's not bad, but like, when you add this, it makes it so much better. But all you have to do, right, is you're writing your song, you've got your melody, you've got it written out in MIDI, or maybe you've got it as an audio as audio like this, right? Like I just copy this, right? At least in Ableton, you can do it this way. Hit paste. In this case, I believe I chose harmony because I think I found that it was better in that case. I think melody with Ableton, it doesn't necessarily give you. No, it wasn't harmony that I used. I think I used melody. So I used melody. Yeah, I think this is what I ended up doing. And then I went ahead. No, I used harmony. And then I made all of those notes longer. And then I went through and I got rid of the pieces that I didn't need. And I either used that piece for it, or I might have used, honestly, one of these pieces for it. But you just drag that into a MIDI track, bounce it out, and play with it until it works for you. And in some cases, it's not going to work for you. In some cases, or it will just take so much longer and it just doesn't make any sense. But in other cases, if you want to bring an element of flair to your track, this is an absolutely easy and perfect way of bringing an element of flair to your beat. All right. So definitely check this trick out and let me know what you think. Peace.